Hello, welcome to Solo Strategic Playthroughs. My name is Jeff, and today I am continuing my Gloomhaven 2nd Edition campaign. When last we left off, the Gloomaniacs, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, had gone out on a mission to check out the Black Barrow, and having killed a bunch of archers and scouts, then headed down into the basement to the Barrow Lair. Now, if you're only familiar with first edition, you might be wondering, wait, how is this episode 7? Did I have to do the Black Barrel 6 times? No. That was the first scenario originally in first edition, but in second edition, they've mixed up the story a bit. First, you do things like the Hail Escort quest, the Power of Enhancement, before you actually get started off on this storyline, sent out by Jexera to retrieve some documents. We still haven't retrieved those documents. We are going to have to deal with the Bandit Commander in a boss battle. So as you can see, I've got the board set up. No, this is a forced event, or this is a forced link connecting right to the previous scenario. So no city event phase. We'll just get right into it. Just to let you know, all of my characters are level 3, so technically they should be at a level 2 difficulty, even with the second edition solo rules, which don't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like the advantage to knowing what you're doing and controlling all the characters and the open information is so big, it has to be at least a level bump in my opinion. So I will be playing at scenario difficulty level 3. I'm also going to mention that if you don't have the scenario book in front of you, you're just watching the video and you don't necessarily know this scenario, there are 2 more rooms down here. Just don't have room on the table for everything that fits in the camera. So as we push further in and leave this initial room, I'll restructure the board to include those rooms. Now let's go through the characters, starting with Yakko the Bruiser. His battle goal this time is the Accountant, which is pretty straightforward. You do have to do a little bit of thinking and planning to make sure that you've always going into a round with an even number of cards, or at least a method to get a card back. Now, with the Tinkerer as one of his partners, there's plenty of ways to do that. The Tinkerer, I'm making sure to include the card that lets somebody else get a card back. Actually has multiple ways of doing that. Not to mention, the Tinkerer has the ability to share his potions. So, though the Bruiser himself does not have a stamina potion, he can use the Tinkerer's. So, I just have to pay attention and not forget about it. This battle goal is going to be really easy to pull off. So, as the cards I'm not bringing, you can take a look. You can see mostly cards just I'm not using as much. The first, third, and fourth one there. I would have liked to have bring the Leaping Cleave, especially since I know from the layout there's going to be multiple obstacles in here with the crypts, or with the coffin, sarcophagi, whatever, taking up a bunch of space. But I didn't really like the way my initiative was looking out, didn't have enough low values. So I ended up subbing out the 54 for a 15, which I haven't used in a couple games, Shield Bash, so it'd be good to get that one going again. Next up is the Quattrol Tinkerer, Wakko, who you can see does have enough XP to be level 4, but that happened last game. I'll have to wait till we go back to Gloomhaven before he can do that, and this was a connected forced scenario. So, his battle goal, Wallflower, should be pretty easy. I mean, if you look at this map, most of the spaces are touching walls, so not too hard to stick to that. There's going to be a bunch of obstacles, probably in that second room. So I don't think I'm going to have any problem keeping the Wallflower. Not to mention, I never attack melee, pretty much, with the Tinkerer, and don't even attack range that often. A lot of times he's just doing support, and that is what I'm going for here. After running out of movement last game, though, I have made a point of putting some extra move 4 in. And yeah, most of my healing cards I want to include, again, the ability to give other allies cards back so he can help out with the Bruiser's battle goal. So all around going to be doing support with the occasional pretty large attack. Finally, Dot, the Vermling Mindthief, and I mean, her battle goal is so easy it almost feels like cheating. I just have to kill an enemy in the same turn that an ally previously attacked it. Well, summons are considered allies, so she'll get her trusty rats out at some point, who will always go before she does. She just has to kill one, and the rats usually, soften up poison. Don't think that one's going to be difficult at all. One of the nice things, now that I've completed both masteries for all 3 characters, I'm kind of freed up to play my preferred style, go the way I want to do, rather than... And I have enjoyed doing the masteries, but you can see I'm not even bringing the other 3 augments. I really like the ability to attack at a distance. My biggest goal with Dot this game is I want to get her the 21 XP that she needs to level up, so that all 3 can level up to level 4 after this scenario. So to that end, I've made sure to include a lot of her cards, her frost generation, her ability to generate XP. Yes, the augments all generate XP if you're swapping them out, but she has a lot of better ways to do that in terms of generating XP. So she'll get 10 for the scenario bonus. I just need to make sure she gets the other 11. For round 1, my focus is very straightforward. I've got these archers without a lot of health, a couple of lovely traps that each do 5 damage. So I know the archers don't have anything faster than a 10. So I'm going to guarantee, well, almost guarantee, that I can take out 2 of them. My odds are pretty good because of the Bruisers. One of the Bruisers' perks, everyone's first attack of the round will be at advantage. So I'm going to be able to pull enemies into the traps, 2 of them, dealing 5 damage. Then I just have to do 1 more damage. And if the Tinkerer gets to go fast enough, I can stun the other archer, or depending on what it's doing, I might want to throw an attack at it. Can kind of make that a game time decision. But those are the choices I have made for round 1. And now we'll draw for the enemies using the X-Haven app, just the archers in this case. They're going to do a calculated strike on 44, so that'll be a 4 attack at ranged 4. So yeah, we'll probably end up stunning that guy. We'll kick things off with the Bruiser, and you can see, because of Yakko's fearless leadership, his attack will be at advantage. And that attack with the hook chain will be a 3 attack and a pull, so if we don't kill him outright, we'll be able to pull him into the trap. Should notice there is a scenario effect. Everyone starts with 2 curses. The Tinkerer and the Mindthief both have a perk that makes them immune to that. Yakko is not, so he does have 2 curses in the deck, and obviously since there was no cities phase, I was not able to donate to the Great Oak, so no blesses. I did make sure to clean everybody's decks, take all that stuff out, but let's go ahead and do this attack at advantage. It's either going to be a +2 or a 0. It'll be a +2, which will be 5 damage, and then I will just yank, and I didn't even say which I was attacking, I guess this one, and then I'll just yank him right into the trap, which does 5 damage, and just like that, an enemy is off the board. Now Yakko does have potential of movement. It could also generate a shield, but we'll go ahead and use movement, and I'll just hop right on there and loot that coin. Of course, as I said in the last session, now that with enhancements being available, also new items that I might want to potentially look at, my goal with each scenario is to loot as much as possible. Next up will be Dot, who will use her Submissive Affliction to drag this guy into the trap, springing it and dealing 5 damage, which is going to knock him from 6 to 1, and then she can go ahead and do a 3 attack and generate Frost, which we'll just go ahead and do now. Again, this attack will be at advantage as Fearless Leadership affects all of my characters. So a -1 or a 0, either way, this enemy is dead, takes 3 damage as a result of that. So that guy's gone, and that will do it for her. Finally, for my crew will be the Tinkerer, and I'm just going to keep it simple. I will go ahead and stun the enemy so that he cannot attack, and then I'll use my move 2 to hop right up and get this coin, and I am next to a wall, so I continue to be a wallflower. And with the enemy stunned, that will do it for round 1. We'll wane the Frost and go right into round 2. Round 2, I do want to keep things going. I've just got the 1 enemy here. Also want to take advantage of that Frost I generated. So Dot is going to go very fast on 8, run up, attack that thing, and then stun it, then use her movement to open the door. We'll see what we see, give the enemies a chance to go. I will have the Bruiser and the Tinkerer go as late as they can in the round so they can kind of see and react. And then the Bruiser's got a lot of options in terms of, they both got the opportunity to attack the Archer or move up, attack other enemies, So that will really depend on what's going on behind that door. Moving over to X-Haven, where the archers will be shooting foot on 29, but they will be stunned long before they get a chance to do that. Dot will lead off with the scurry using 1, 2 movement. I guess actually there's no reason not to go in the door since I'll get to finish out the turn. So she will use all 3 movement to go ahead and open the door. Then she'll be able to attack, stun, and move. And here in the main chamber, Dot has discovered it is a crypt. There are several coffins here. There are unsurprisingly undead with a couple of living bones, an elite and a non-elite. There are a pair of archers, and there is in the center of those 2 archers the Bandit Commander, who looks not entirely human. There are 5 doors here, or 4 doors that haven't been opened yet. You can see I've reset the round counter to 1 as per the instructions. Every 3rd round, the Bandit Commander is going to run over to one of the doors in order and open it at the end of his turn. And by run over, he's got 20 movement with jump. So he'll be able to get there. I guess, is it possible to block him? I guess he would just end up next to it. But that is not my main concern. You can see I've got the 63 down in the lower right corner of the screen. That is his health. I'll keep track of it that way. If you're wondering that I did go ahead and 3D print a miniature for him and paint it up, that he seems so little, and he still is little compared to the archers and the living bones, but I at least elevated him a little. That is a stack of chips from the Isofarian Guard. Repurposing happens to be set up next to me. So, there we are. Now we just need to know what the enemies are going to do. And again, nice feature of X-Haven is you can just click the button and it will tell us what to add. A Bandit Commander, an Archer, and living corpses. Living corpses? They're living bones. So you have to go by what's in the book, because it's not always accurate here. So I'm actually going to need to fix that. So the living bones, I just had to manually adjust it. The living bones are going to be doing Drain Life right after the Mindthief. The elite's going to move 2, and the other one just 1, and I'll just make sure to stay out of range of their attack. The Bandit Archers, we already knew what they were going to be doing, attacking. They were going to be moving and attacking at range 5. That is a pretty hefty range. They are definitely going to be able to get to a target unless I duck around the corner. For Dot's case, which I may do. And then we've got the Bandit Commander doing nothing special this round. Nothing special. He's just going to move 4 and attack 4. So he'll be moving up, out from behind there. And then, of course, we've got the Bruiser and the Tinkerer going last. So even though the archers are all the way back there, they are going to be able to get in range of both of my characters and shoot their feet. I could have the Mindthief go into the room and draw their fire, but she is not built on range. So her not having any mobility is going to be rough, not to mention the fact that she's only got 8 health. So first things first, finishing up the Mindthief, she is going to go ahead and burn that frost to stun this guy and gain her first XP. And then she can go ahead and move 3, and I'm just going to have her duck around the corner so that she is not a target of these ranged attacks and has some mobility next turn. Now the enemies are up. We'll start with the Elite Living Bones, who will move 2. Then this guy will move 2, getting him closer to the room. Then the archers will go, and they have a move 3 and target attack at range 5. So we'll start with the elite, who will go 1, 2, 3, and then I guess the target would be the Bruiser, is the closest one in range with the lower initiative. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can shoot right through the door. Certainly did not anticipate that being a thing that could happen, but it is. So that will be a base 3 attack. 3 attack plus 1 is a 4. The Bruiser does have his armor, so he'll reduce 1. He'll take 3, and he cannot move. Next up will be the non-elite, who will also move 3, and then, again, is 5 away from the Tinkerer, and we'll be able to attack. That will be a 2 attack, and it's a miss. Now with the boss, he's moving for attacking 4. His target is going to be the Bruiser. Would be the Mindthief. They're equidistant, but again, because the Mindthief has the perk, it's as if she's last in the round. So he will target the Bruiser. In terms of getting closest to the Bruiser, that route is it could go any way. So I think just with the top left tiebreaker, it's going to end up looking like this, as he will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and he'll head around this way, because that gets him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away. If he were here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually 6. So this is the route that gets him closest to the Bruiser, so that's where he'll go. Next up is the Bruiser. He was at least somewhat prepared for this, as he can go ahead and do a 2 attack and then just a generic melee attack. I'm certainly not going to use my attack 7 on a lowly archer. So first attack is going to be, we'll do the 2, they're both 2 attacks, so it doesn't really matter. Here's a 2 attack, +1 for 3 damage, another 2 attack, another +1 for 3 more damage, and did manage to take the enemy out. Now, my original plan was to move 4 and poison something, generate earth, but I don't even think, if I don't attack, I don't even know that I can generate the earth. Also, not really worth it, kind of a waste. So I'm going to call an audible, and I'm going to flip things around. There's a lot of enemies out there that hit pretty hard, so let's give them something else to shoot. I will go ahead and summon the decoy, and we'll be able to send that in next round, and maybe at least take some of the hits. And that'll be 3 XP for the Tinkerer, and then we'll just ignore the bottom of the other card, and still the Wallflower, he hasn't moved away from the wall. And since the Tinkerer lost a card, he can generate an element. I'm going to have him generate wind, and that will wane, and we will move on to, I guess, what is now round 2. Round 3, and I am going to call it round 3. It's a bit too confusing. Otherwise, I've marked the board. Rounds 4, 7, 10, and 13 are going to be when the boss goes ahead and opens doors. So we've got that marked so we can remember it. There's a lot of enemies bunched up. This feels like a go big or go home moment, and we all know the Gloomaniacs do not go home until all the enemies are dead. So they are going big. At least the Mindthief and the Bruiser are. They are both, I'm planning at least, on having both of them burn cards for some massive attacks. But first, I want them to go later in the round so that I can set things up, get the decoy in there. What's the point of the decoy if the Bruiser's just going to run in and take all the hits? So I will have the the Tinkerer go first. Also, with the Mindthief potentially doing 4 attacks this turn, it seems like a good time to give her advantage. So a lot, of course, as always, going to depend on what the enemies are doing, though hopefully we go quick enough. The archers aren't going to need to move anyway, even if they go early. And if they don't, then the decoy will go in there and kind of block things up. That's my hope anyway. A lot depends on what the enemies are doing, so let's check that out. Right, so you can see I've got the Mindthief going on 77, the Bruiser on 72. Hopefully, after the dust settles, that clump will still be there. Tinkerer going on 18. Also, interestingly, I noticed Gloomhaven has the 2 (3), so it is round 3, but I guess 2 in terms of the reset. Whatever, let's draw. Living Bones on 64, Bandit Archer on 64. Archers are not moving. The Living Bones will not end up moving because the decoy will go first. As for the boss, he is going last. All right, well, special one. Well, not last. He's going after the Bruiser before the Mindthief, so we'll worry about that when we get to it. Leading things off, of course, will be the decoy before the Tinkerer. And the decoy is just going to move in, and again, using the tiebreaker rules, it's going to go here. I would have preferred it to go to the other spot, because then I probably would have done things differently with the Bruiser. I would have been able to take advantage of that win, do a pierce attack. The most important thing in the setup here is I need the Bruiser to get some damage in on the Elite to have a chance of pulling off what I want to pull off. So it just, so that's why I'm doing the trample instead, so I can make sure I get in and do an attack. Anyway, the decoy has moved in, gone in a nice decoy position. Then now the Tinkerer can go. So first things first, I will go ahead and strengthen the Mindthief, and the Mindthief will get a card back. We'll come back to that in a sec. In terms of movement, I do need to be cognizant of the fact that the big guy is going to be attacking a bunch of targets. So I'm going to double check special 1 again. So you can see here the Bandit Commander is going to move 5 with a jump. Not that he's going to need to move that far. He's going to do 3 attacks, but it's the same as any multi-attack. He's going to find his focus, then see how many targets he can get with that focus. So as long as I don't create an opportunity for him to get multiple targets, I should be fine. So what I'm going to do with the Tinkerer's movement is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, hop over the decoy down here. The decoy will still absorb attacks. That means the Tinkerer will take the boss attack, but I'm not too worried about that. It's just 1 attack, and he's got 11 health. And of course, I had him covered under the card, so you can see he's right over here. Now I just need to decide which card Dot is going to get back. I think for Dot, having more frost generation and also really good initiative will be very helpful. So I'm going to get that card back, and that means since it'll be an odd number of cards in her hand, I'll probably have her also use her stamina potion. So I'll be able to get another card back after her turn. Next up are the Living Bones. No need for the Elite to move. He's got his target right there. He can't get a multi-attack in, so he will just go ahead and do a base 3 attack against the decoy for 3 damage, bringing the decoy from 10 health down to 7. Don't expect the decoy to last very long, but as long as it takes some damage. Now, with the other, I don't think this Living Bones is going to move because it's only got 2 movement. Going around this way is not going to bring it any closer. So it'll just hang out there, and that is going to be it for the Living Bones. Next up are the Archers, who are doing a power shot, not moving, so they are going to hammer away at the decoy. The Elite will go first with a 5 attack, 6, so that's fine. I'm just glad it didn't kill it. And then 1 more attack, -2, which is still going to be enough. So just like that, the decoy is gone, but he took what potentially could have been 3 very large attacks, also ensured that the enemies would stay together. Now the Bruiser's up, and he'll use Juggernaut, and unfortunately I am going to have to use my boots to gain the extra movement, so I won't be able to attack all of the enemies with my other attack, but sometimes you don't always get what you want. Also, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get this loot. Well, maybe I will. So he will move in here now. Actually, I guess he could have done that attack with the spot vacated, but it doesn't really matter. He'll move 3 and then go ahead with the extra movement from the boots, and then go ahead and do a 3 attack against the Living Bones. And actually, I will also use his power potion this turn, since it affects all attacks this round. So a base 4 attack. And I'm reminded of all the curses I've got in there. Hopefully they don't come up ill-timed. That's a 4 + 1 is 5, minus the 1 shield is going to knock him from 9 down to 5. 4 damage dealt there. And so that was the first half of the Bruiser's turn. Now let's get into the second half. But before we do that, since we've completed that card action, I can now, because technically I would have had to use the power potion before I take the action, which I did. And then now that I've completed both parts of that action, I can go ahead and use items again. So I will use the Scepter, which will, from his personal goal quest, which will allow me to poison 3 enemies, as well as put 3 curses in the enemy deck. I'll poison myself, but then I'll just go ahead and use my Amulet of Health to heal that. Now the Bruiser will go ahead and do his Trample. Again, can't get all of them, unfortunately. He doesn't have the extra movement. If only I had enhanced my card, which I want to do, and perhaps I will do when I get back to Gloomhaven. That said, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll end up over here. Base 3 plus the power potion is 4. 2 of them are poisoned. I did choose to poison the guy down there because I think this guy's going to die without the poison with the attacks coming in. Hopefully, anyway. We will start with the elite up top with a 4 attack versus 1 shield. Is going to do 3 damage, which will bring him down to 2. And now an attack against this one. This will be a base 5. Plus 1 is 6. So that will drop him from 10 down to 4. That's exactly what we want to see. And then that was key, not missing that attack. The last one, let's see if our luck can continue. It can. 5 damage to this archer, which will bring him down to 1. And he is not long for this world. Going to gain 3 XP for that. And now it is the boss's turn. Next up will be the Bandit Commander. It's just going to be a 3 attack. As we are well spread out, he'll target his focus, which is the Tinkerer, and go ahead with a 3 attack. And there's a curse. That is a miss, so no damage. And now it's time for a Cranial Overload. Is it too early to use this card? I don't know. I think this is a pretty good opportunity. I talked about in my first video about being kind of conservative with your lost cards. What I've come to realize, especially with the power level of these characters, most of my games are not going 20 rounds. So I certainly don't anticipate this one going that long. So I don't need to buy all those extra turns. I still do need to be somewhat judicious in them, not just blow through them all. But this is such a huge opportunity. It's very much worthwhile. Hoo boy. This is going to be something else. First, we're going to use Psychic Blade to move to over here so we can grab that loot at the end of the turn. I'll just grab it now. And it has a nice other effect that all of my melee attacks get to add a curse. Well, as it turns out, and I thought this was the case, but I double-checked the FAQ, thank you Dwarf74, and indeed, all attacks of Cranium Overload are considered melee attacks, which means not only will I be hitting all these enemies, I will also be throwing 4 curses into the enemy deck, which is just insane. That is, of course, assuming that I can manage to kill this guy, which, thanks to the initial softening attack by the Bruiser and me having advantage from the Tinkerer, I think I've set things up pretty well here. Again, this level of coordination, not possible when you're playing by the regular rules with other players, which is why you have to increase the difficulty level, I feel, if you're playing solo. In any event, let's go ahead and do these attacks. I will be first doing the main one, a 6 attack, targeting the archer in the middle. Why not? This is why I got it. I'm going to use my power potion as well. So it'll actually be a 7 attack plus the poison. This is going to be an 8 attack. And we'll go ahead and see the results. 8 attack with advantage, either a -1 or straight up. So it'll be the 0 and I can move the enemy. But that ain't going to happen because the enemy is going to die horribly. As we do 8 damage, he only had 4 health. And in exploding his brain, I get to then psychically attack all 3 other enemies. These attack would normally be at a 2. They are going to instead be at a 3, 4, and 4. So we'll start with that guy. So no, but again, at advantage. So pretty good chance I kill him. Either a +1 or a 0. Yeah, that's 4 against his shield. Not enough to save him. He's gone. Then we'll move to this guy. Again at advantage. And again, I could move him, but I'm not going to be able to do that because he is also going to be dead. He only had 1 health. Last but not least, somebody who actually might survive this carnage, live to tell the tale. If living bones could speak, I don't think they can. So we'll go ahead and do a 4 attack against him with advantage. Either a +1 or a +1. A +1, so that's 5 versus the shield. He is going to be knocked down to 3 health, and on top of that we'll get 2 experience. I've got 3 of the 11 I need this game, and yeah, the board is looking a lot better, and there are now 6 curses in the enemy deck. 2 still from the Bruiser's turn, and 4 more added just now. That is going to do it for round 3. Next round, after the Bandit Commander's turn, he will jump over here and open the door. Also, you can't block him out because he lands on the door. That's the space he's going to occupy. I knew there was some rule that would cover that and make it clear. And one other thing I'd like to do before the end of the Mindthief's turn, which I talked about, is using a stamina potion so I can get Scurry back. We can clear the Tinkerer out of there, hopefully, and then get in and wound the boss, poison him, really set ourselves up to start wailing on him. This is going to be it for me tonight. I will pick things up tomorrow. You won't have to wait that long. See you real soon. Round 4, and obviously my main goal here is to take out that living bone so I don't have to deal with that anymore. Collect some loot. Also going to get the Mindthief into the room. Hopefully get some poison and bleed on the enemy so that we can start working them down. 633 health, we got a ways to go. This round I've got everyone going as fast as they can, and of course after the boss goes, he will open door number 2, which is over to the right, and he will be going with accelerated power on 17, special 2, so he is going to be attacking, moving far away. Then a hasty assault for the living bones, but not until later, and don't have to worry about the archers, they are dead. So my original plan was to have the Bruiser finish off the living bones, or at least try to have the Tinkerer move out of the way so that Doc could move in and poison and wound the boss. But as things stand right now, with the boss going as soon as he is, the Bandit Commander would move further down into the room away to do his ranged attack. So I'm going to switch things up. I'm not too worried about the living bones this turn. They're only attacking for 1. So I'm going to send in the Bruiser this way instead, using his shield bash. He's going to move 2, throw up 1 shield, and now I've got the boss surrounded. He will go ahead and do an attack. It's just going to be a 3 attack. A base 3 plus 1, so 4 damage. We've got the boss down to 59. We're on our way. Next up is the Bandit Commander. So as you can see, is doing special 2. Move as far from focus as possible while still within 3, then attack 4. So as it turns out, he does not have jump this turn, the Bandit Commander, so he's boxed in. His focus is the Bruiser. He won't move. He'll just attack. It will be a 3 attack at disadvantage, so that is going to be one of my many curses, and a 0. So that will be the curse and a miss. Unfortunately, I forgot that the Bandit Commander is going to move at the end of his turn. He's going to head over to the door and open it. So him moving here has certainly messed up my plans a little bit. I'll have to alter what I was doing. Also, take into consideration, I already know what the living bones are doing. They're doing the hasty assault, moving 4, but we can also take a look. As you can see in this room, there are 2 living bones and 3 living corpses. The good news is they'll all be going after my characters. The bad news is living corpses are on the move. They're each going to move 3. There's also going to be a very large clump of enemies in that room, including the boss. So it might be time to use some more AoE. We'll see. So the Tinkerer is up now, and I think the best way to kind of clog the enemies up is actually going to be by him not moving. There's nowhere I can get away from that attack, and again, it's not a very big attack, so I'm just going to run right up, get in his face. I'll end up looting this. I could do a melee attack against him for 2, plus 1 from the poison, but I would still need a plus 1 to get past the shields and take him out, and if I kill him, somebody will just move into his place to attack. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead instead and top off the Bruiser, who's currently at 11. I'll heal him for 4, bringing him back to 14. And of course, I am still fulfilling the Wallflower objective because I am adjacent to an obstacle. Apparently, the Tinkerer is short, so he feels like he's standing next to a wall when he's next to a giant coffin. Next up is the Mindthief. This obviously did not work out as well as I had hoped, but it'll work out well enough. I'm going to use the move 4 first to go 1, 2, 3, 4, then Scurry to get right up in his face, and then I can go ahead and do an attack. I will use the Poison Dagger so that get the boss poisoned. He does not have immunity to that. He has immunity to a bunch of other things, but not poison, not wound. So we'll just need to find a way to wound him a little later, but I'll go ahead now and do a 2 attack. That attack will be +1, so 3 more damage, which will knock him down to 56. Now the living bones are up, and we'll start with the elite, who does have move 4 and attack 2. He'll be able to go through the door frame up here. His focus is going to be the Mindthief, so that will be a 2 attack. Result of which is going to be just 2 damage. Mindthief is down to 6. Next up is actually this guy, who will just attack the Tinkerer. A 1 base attack, -1, so no damage. And then this guy, I guess the closest target is the Tinkerer, because to get to the Mindthief, he'd have to go all the way around. So he'll use his 4 movement to go 1, 2, 3, 4, getting as close as he can to the Tinkerer, but no attack. And these guys are each going to move 3 in the process, doing a damage to themselves, going from 11 to 10. So 1, 2, 3. This guy's next. So 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. Pretty straightforward. And that is a lot of enemies near each other. And it is time to plan for round 5. Round 5, and unfortunately, unless I use my stamina potion, which I could have, but I don't want to use just yet for the Tinkerer, Tinkerer doesn't have many attacks. So I'm going to have to get creative, find other ways to deal damage. The Bruiser can charge in, start getting involved in the action, and again, the Bruiser doesn't have any choice. These are the last 2 cards he's got left, but he can do a move 4 and attack 4, so that'll be good. And with the Mindthief, a lot of options, as I can have one of the enemies attack another one of the enemies, so we can kind of see how things pan out based on what the enemies draw. And we're going 20, 17, and 12, and the enemies... nothing special for the Bandit Commander, just a move 4 and a 4 attack. The living bones are not moving. That is excellent news, because I should definitely be able to kill one of them. And as for the living corpses, they're not moving. So I think since the boss is the only one moving here, my best bet is, I think for Dot, is I just want to keep the pressure on. So I am going to have one of the living corpses do a 3 attack against the Bandit Commander. Not to mention, that will also muddle the Bandit Commander, definitely improving the odds of drawing one of those curses. So again, because of Dot's perk, we get to use her deck. It is a base 3 attack, +1 for the poison is a 4. So 4 damage, knocking the Bandit Commander from 56 down to 52. Then it's just a question of where I want the Bandit Commander to go after. I think Dot is going to heal back up to 8, but she's still squishy, so I'm going to send him in the direction of the Bruiser, and I'm going to do that by moving back 2 for starters. I will also be able to heal her, so she's back up to 8, and that is her turn. And the Tinkerer, very simply, will just use movement to move back 1. Nobody to heal, everybody's at full, which is nice, so don't have to worry about that. And then we'll drop a gas canister right here, a 4 damage muddle trap. And we can move on to the Bruiser. Yakko's going to see if he can finish off this living bones with a 1, 2, 3, 4 movement, and then a 4 attack. And this will be a 5 with the poison, so I just need to make sure I avoid those curses and automatic misses, which I did. So this guy is off the board, and fortunately, no enemies will attack. Well, no living bones will attack. The boss, who's up next, is going to move in. The Bandit Commander does have 2 movement, but again, because of Dot's perk, he will focus his attention on the Bruiser instead. We'll just move him without the stack. It's getting a little unwieldy. So, he is poisoned. We'll just keep that set aside. I put a muddle on top of the deck to remind myself of that. So he will go ahead and do a 4 attack at disadvantage. Still going to be 5 damage. The Bruiser does have a shield, or does have his armor 1 more use. He'll use that, so 4 damage, knocking him down to 10. And since the Bruiser was attacked, he will use his heavy mace to attack back. 1 attack, +1 from the poison, so 2, and it's a miss. if I had to miss, at least it was on that. Also, as per usual, I forgot to do my short rest for the Bruiser, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. Obviously, I hadn't used that item yet, so I won't be able to get that back. And the card I ended up randomly losing is the Spare Dagger. I thought about spending a life to let it go. I'm going to get plenty of healing back, so that's not really a concern. But there's other cards that I definitely wouldn't want to lose at this point, so I will let that one go. And that's going to do it for round 5. We can move on to round 6. So for this round, I mean, the Bruiser is right up against the enemy. Kind of too bad I didn't have the Spare Dagger, but I also have that trap there, which I could potentially take advantage of. So I'm going to consider that possibility, going fast enough that I could move up, collect some loot, pull something in the trap. Depending on what the enemies are drawing, won't necessarily be the boss. I might want to drag one of the living bones for that. So we can see what the enemies are doing before I decide. For the Tinkerer, these are the last 2 cards he had left. Lots of healing out there. Heal 5, a couple of heal 2s. Unless I wanted to switch it around, but I think with the Bruiser down to 10, I will probably have him go a little bit later in the round and heal. And then the Mindthief, I'm also going to have go later in the round. No reason to go that fast. I'd like to see how things develop. Probably do the 3 attack and generate Frost, but based on how things look, you never know. Maybe I want to put the rats out. We'll see. So here's my initiative. Like I said, I'm having the Tinkerer and the Mindthief go on their higher initiatives, mainly because I'd rather see what the enemies are going to do first. I'm not too worried about them getting attacked. The Bruiser can draw plenty of heat. So let's go ahead and draw. All right, a Violent Slam. Excellent. So the Living Corpse continuing to just sit in that room and do nothing. I have no problem with that. Lingering Strength. So this will be a move 5 and a 3 attack against all adjacent enemies on 73. So definitely need to keep in mind my spacing, so I'm not getting slammed by that. And then a Focus Strike from the Living Bones. That's not great. So, all right. So probably best bet is going to be to spread everyone out. So all my people are going first anyway. Oh no, I guess the Mindthief is going last, so that's good. I'll be able to kind of see how people react, and we'll kick things off now with the Bruiser. A lot of options for the Bruiser. I could, if I stay where I am, I'm actually in a position where the elite Living Bones will go after Dot, and the non-elite won't be able to attack anybody. That's one option. I could move back, pick up the coin, pull the boss into the trap. I'm not going to kill the boss, so then I would be taking 3 attacks. I think I'm going to split the difference. So what I'm going to do is, just using a basic 2 movement from the first card, I'm going to move back here where I will be able to pick up that coin. And then I'm going to use the Hook and Chain, and I'm actually going to target the non-elite Living Bones with a 3 attack and then pull 2 into the trap, and with a little luck, I'll actually be able to kill it. This is going to be a base 3 attack versus 1 shield. Not lucky enough. It's going to be 2 damage, so that'll knock it down to 5, and then I'll do a 2 pull into the trap, which will do 4 more damage, bringing it down to 1, so not quite dead. Although I could potentially have the Tinkerer try to finish it off, so we'll see. The problem with the Tinkerer doing a melee attack is I can't stay where I am. If I kill that thing off, then the Bandit Commander is going to come and attack both of us. So I am going to need to move 2. That being the case, I think I am probably better off on average, because the skeleton's only doing a 2 attack. So I think in this case, I am better off just going ahead and doing the 4 heal, or it's actually a 5 heal, but the Bruiser is currently at 10, so this will send him back to full at 14. And then I can use just a generic move 2 on the other side to retreat here to the corner, thereby ensuring that there will be no double attacks on my characters. Bandit Commander will be up next. He'll just slide over one to get into position to attack the Bruiser. It's going to be a 3 attack straight up, so that's a miss. Very good. That's going to do it for him. Then will be the Living Bones. And of course, I skipped over the Living Corpses because they're not moving. They don't have any enemies adjacent. So this guy will hop up over here to go ahead and attack. That is going to be a 3 attack straight up, which is a miss. Unbelievable. And then disadvantage from the Muddled guy. It's a 2 attack, either a +1 or a -1. So 1 damage, and I'll use my armor and take no damage. Now we'll finish things off with Dot the Mindthief. I'd much rather... not going to get the rats. I'd much rather have her be in position to an attack, generate frost, so she can use that frost next turn. So I've got 4 movement from the rats card. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I can hop right there. I'll be able to get that loot. And now I can do a 3 attack, generating frost. And I'm not really worried about the Living Bones again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that attack to the boss, who is still poisoned. So +1, it'll be a base 4. And the result of that will be... Ooh, well, I was already generating frost anyway, but that is going to be 6 damage, which is going to bring the Bandit Commander down to 46. Both Tinkerer and the Mindthief need to do a short rest. These are the cards I randomly drew. No problem with those. Crazy that after all that work I did with augments last session, the Mindthief is not going to play a single augment this game. But that's going to do it for round 6, and now we can move on to round 7, where the Bandit Commander will be opening another door. So, as I move into round 7, where the boss will be opening another door, it's going to be the one down here, I am realizing that if I let the boss open all the doors and I take this too slow, could be difficult to complete this scenario, since you do have to kill every revealed enemy. So the sooner I can kill him, the better. To that end, I am going to start unloading a lot more damage. Not necessarily going to be able to deal with all the other enemies, but fortunately the Living Corpses still don't have to deal with right away. The Mindthief's going to be able to go pretty fast on 10 and use the Frost out there to take out the Living Bones, and also get in an attack on the boss and reset Frost. I'm going to have the Tinkerer crank things up with the Crank Bow, do a big damage attack, and the Bruiser also looking to do a multi-damage attack. So we will go ahead, see where the enemies are going, and then get to it. You see, I'm going on 10, 19, 20. The one thing I do not want to see is the boss going on 17. Let's see. No, he's going even faster on 14. All right, not much to be done for that. We're just going to have to deal with it. And so moving down, you can see Living Bones are going to be draining life, so not a lot, and one of those I'm definitely going to be able to take out. The other one will still be around, but we'll see. I can probably set things up at this point. There's not going to be any targets nearby. Living Corpse is moving to not attacking, just muddling and locking people in place, but hopefully I can avoid them as well. The one thing I don't know is what enemies are going to be in the room down below, because that door is going to get opened pretty fast. Mindthief's going to kick things off. First up, I will attack the boss before he runs off. It's going to be a 3 attack. It'll generate Frost. Now, even though, again, that doesn't happen until the end of the round, so I will still be able to use the Frost that's out there, and then it'll just replenish. And this attack will be at +1 because of the poison. So a 3 + 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. Fantastic. Gonna knock the boss from 42 down to 34. We are well on his way to taking him out. He's gonna take a lot of damage this round if all goes well. So now I'll do Submissive Affliction, targeting the Living Bones. I'll give him 1 movement. I'm actually not going to move him. I'm fine with where he is right now. But then I can consume the Frost to deal 2 damage, which will take that guy out. Also give Mindthief another XP up to 4. So now the Bandit Commander's up. His focus is going to be the Bruiser because of Dot's perk. So he'll get as far away from the Bruiser as he can, and then do that ranged attack. And it doesn't really matter where he goes because he's going to be vacating that spot afterwards. You know, maybe it's up top, but I'll just put him here for now. He'll go ahead, and it will be a 4 attack against the Bruiser. So that is going to be -1, so a 3. The Bruiser does have his armor, so he will take 2 damage. Then the boss leaps over to door number 3, pops it open, and what do you know? More undead. That is a lot of damage I'm going to have to deal. Fortunately, the chest is in there, so we're not going to let the Bandit Commander open any more doors. We're just going to go all out and take him out. Tinkerer's up, and the Bandit Commander can run, but he cannot hide from the Crankbow. Range 5, not quite there. I am going to need to move a little bit closer. I want to get closer to the action. I will end up having to take an attack from the Living Bones, who's going to be able to get multiple targets, but I think it's worth it also not to have to worry about this coin. So I'm going to use my 3 movement to run up over here, and then I can use the Crankbow to do an 8 attack, and you better believe I'll be using my simple bow to give myself advantage on this attack. This will be an 8 attack plus 1 from the poison, makes it 9. Again, at advantage as I am using the simple bow. So, either a -1 or a 0 and heal an ally. Not that any of my allies... Yeah, actually, the Bruiser did take some damage. He's at 12. So, I will go ahead and deal 9 damage to the boss, which will drop it to 25, and heal the Bruiser for 1. Also, since I lost a card, I will be able to generate an element. That element is going to be wind, and that's going to do it for the Tinkerer. Now the Bruiser's up. I have 2 options for the Bruiser. I could actually burn a card for a move 7, run down, and hit the boss for 7, as I've got that combo up. The only issue there is I still have a couple curses in my deck, or 1 curse. I might still have 2. I'd rather do those big attacks when I've got advantage. Not to mention the fact that I've got a Pearson attack. I am going to have to kill this Elite Living Bones at some point. So I'll take advantage of having the air, and I'll go ahead and do a 4 attack with Pierce 1 versus the Living Bones. And that attack will be straight up, a 4, -2, so not a lot of damage. At least it gets through the shields. Bring that guy down to 7. I will gain an XP for that. And having only dealt 2 damage, I only have 2 movement. So I think to protect the Mindthief, I will at least go ahead and move down here, a little bit closer to the action, and won't have to worry about the Living Bones attacking the Mindthief. So now the enemies are up. We'll start with the Elite Skeleton, who will move into position so that he can attack 2 enemies. First attack against the Bruiser, a base of 3, plus 1 is 4 damage. That'll bring him down to 9, and then 3 damage to the Tinkerer, bringing him down to 11, or from 11 to 8. The non-elites only have 1 movement, so this guy will move a little bit closer to the door, and the other one will stay where he is. Now for living corpses, they are muddling and incapacitating, so this guy will jump out here, and he will lock the Mindthief in place. I'm not too worried about that, since the Mindthief is going to be going before the living corpse next turn, and can certainly deal with that. Next one up will be this one, which will move into the door, and then this guy will move out here. So they are getting into the action. Then this guy will move up towards the door. This guy, I think, actually would end up moving here. That's going to do it for all the enemies and for the round. We've got Frost that was generated, so be able to make good use of that next round. So as we go into round 8, I will have to say, of all the games I've played, all the rounds, this is the round where I am the least sure of what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going by feel. I mean, it's easy for the rats. They can't move. They'll be able to stun the big guy, get in a mind control attack. So many options with the Tinker. Not really sure the best. I do know I want to kill this guy, the boss, within the next couple of rounds. So I'm going to have to do big attacks. Don't want to take a chance having the Bruiser attack without disadvantage. In terms of what I do on the bottom of the other card, If I move out of the way to avoid a double attack from the skeleton, it's just going to move in and hit the Mindthief. So I'll probably end up staying where I am, and if I'm not moving, this is a good opportunity to get a lost card back, is my thinking anyway. As always, things may change once I see what the enemies are doing. I'm actually going to have the Bruiser go all the way in 87, kind of see what the board looks like before I have him go running after the boss. But let's see where things are going. So twin shots from the Bandit Commander are going to be dealing a lot of damage this turn. Calculated strike from the Living Bones. Nothing special from the big guys, but they are going to be able, at least one of them is going to be able to get in a pretty big attack against the Mindthief. So we'll just play through it and see where we're at. First up, the Mindthief will burn the Frost to use Perverse Edge on the living corpse right next to her. Would love for her to be able to run away, but she is immobilized. She will at least gain an XP for that, so now she's up to 5, although accomplishing goals along those lines is the least of my worries right now in terms of the attack. So my plan was to have one of the other enemies, I think I can reach the Living Bones down here. Yep, it's 4 away, so I can have it go ahead and attack the commander. So using her deck, that's going to be a 3 attack, +1 from the poison. It will be at disadvantage as she's muddled, so either that or that. So just the straight up 0, so 4 damage, and the boss is muddled. Realizing now I made a big tactical error. I should have had the Bruiser go a little bit earlier. His route to the boss is going to be blocked off a bit. He can still get to him, but he has to use resources to do it. And if I'd gone a little bit sooner, I would have been able to maybe shift my focus, attack the Living Bones instead. But the end result of that, as I'm structuring around, trying to figure out what to do, is the resources the Tinkerer was going to spend on the Bruiser are now going to be spent on the Mindthief. As I'm going to give the Mindthief advantage on her next attack. Well, this is very risky, but I'm going to go for it. These are the 2 cards I'm going to get back for the Mindthief, so she can do a ton of damage against the boss next turn. And to further facilitate that, since I lost a card, I will generate Frost, and then I will use, still on the Tinkerer's turn, I will use my Element Potion to generate Earth, so that Dot can use hers, because remember, the Cranium Overload is considered a melee attack, so I can use the Tremor Blade on it. Now the enemies are up, and the question really is, can I outlast all the damage they're going to be dealing to me? We'll see. And I can afford to lose cards because I'm accelerating things and still have all those curses. But let's start with the boss, who will attack. He'll move up 1. His focus is going to be the Bruiser or the Mindthief, I guess. The Mindthief's closer. Either way, it's going to be able to target the Bruiser and the Mindthief. He's got 2 targets. He is muddled, so these will be at disadvantage. First, we'll go against the Mindthief, either a -2 or a -1. Love to see it. So that is just going to be 1 damage on a base 3 attack. Then he'll go ahead and attack the Bruiser, either a -1 or +2. Did not even have to burn through any of the curses. Okay, so 2 damage to the Bruiser, another use of the shield, or the armor, sorry, and now he is down to 8, and the armor is spent, but I could always get that back with his repair ability. That's going to do it for the boss. Next up, the Living Bones, Calculated Strike. This one could be a little painful. Let's hope we can get some of those curses. You can see it is going to be a 4 attack against the Tinkerer and the Bruiser. First, we'll go against the Tinkerer, and alright, 3 damage. He's down to 5. Quite the run of negative modifiers I'm getting here. So then the next attack against the Bruiser is finally a curse. Okay. So no damage to the Bruiser, and now we just need to move around the other guys. This guy will go first. They're moving 2, so he'll move out here. This guy will move into the door with his movement, and now we can do the living corpses. The Elite will go first. He'll move 2. He can only move 1, so he'll go here. And then next, actually, I guess technically he would go up here towards the door, and then freeing this guy up to go here. Of course, the one next to Dot is stunned, so he won't move. The non-elites are only moving one. This guy moves first, and he's blocked, so he's not going anywhere, which is a little bit unfortunate. This guy will move up and hit Dot and attempt to whack her for 4. Straight up attack. +1 is 5. She's at 7. That's a lot. She just got a couple cards back. I think that one I am actually going to lose a card. In this case, I think I actually am going to let the rats go. Now that I've got one of her lost cards back, the Cranium Overload, I'm not worried about getting to the XP. The rats are a roadblock, but it's just going to be one hit the way these guys are hitting most likely. So I'll avoid the damage. She's still at 7. And that is it for all of them. Now the Bruiser does get to go. Bruiser's up. This is going to be a pretty pivotal moment. He's got a move 4, then he can do that 7 attack. He will use his boots to make that a move 5, so he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rushing right up into the Lion's Den. Now he can attack the boss. Base 7, +1 from the poison, so 8 attack, +1. So 9 damage, bringing the boss down to 12, and thank goodness I did not draw a curse or a miss. I think I might be able to pull this off next turn. Big moment as we move into round 9 now. I got the boss down to 12, and the Mindthief is going to try and put him down. We do have Frost and Earth available, so she's going to be able to move him to a couple points of damage, and then hopefully take him out with a Cranium Overload, which would then let her attack a bunch of other enemies. Just in case, we've got other things in place. The Bruiser, I think, ideally though, I'd like to get up Juggernaut with all these enemies here, the protective version of it. And the Tinkerer, I've given a move 4 so that maybe he can get a little bit farther away from the Living Bones. Also, an area attacked, or I could go the other way around. So I can move 4 and heal, or if necessary, if I don't manage to kill the boss, the Tinkerer could potentially finish it off with a move 2 and then an AoE. We will see, and let's see what the enemies are doing. No messing around here. I've got everyone going quickly. Also, these are their updated hit point totals, so you can see where everybody's at. And let's see how the enemies are doing. All right, everybody after me. Living Corpses, Violent Slam not moving, which is good to know, although I don't plan on moving. I wasn't planning on moving the Mindthief, so that could be an issue. Living Bones, Focus Strike, and Bandit Commander will hopefully be dead. All right, well, we'll start with the Mindthief and see where things are at before we decide how to move things next. So now Dot is up, and I kind of worked some things out, just figuring out in terms of attacks. As it stands out, she's probably only going to take the 1 attack, because I can stun the other one. The Bruiser can do that. So I will go with my original plan and try and take the boss out right now, and that's going to start with Submissive Affliction, where I'm going to move him 1. I'm going to move him over here so that he can potentially do overload damage to guys without shields. And then I will use the Frost to go ahead and deal 2 damage, which is going to bring him down to 10. She'll gain an XP for that. She's going to gain 2 more for their Cranium Overload. I will then consume the Earth so that I can use her Tremor Blade, which will give her +2 to this attack. So, against the boss, it is going to be a base of 6, +2 is 8, +1 for the poison, up to 9. So, I have advantage. I just need to get a +1. Let's see. Yeah, that'll do. ×2. Talk about an overload, as Dot has just dealt 18 points of damage to the boss, taking him out, and we'll get to do some extra damage to the 3 big fatties surrounding him. So it'll be a 2 attack with advantage against each of the Living Corpse. We'll just start here and go around. First one is going to be 3 damage. The next one is going to be 3 damage, and the last is going to be 2 damage. So I just spent a lot of time here before the Bruiser goes, just figuring out if he can afford to lose both cards, how many rounds. What I worked out is even if he loses both these cards now, I can still get him 5 more rounds in. Should be enough to take out the enemies. So I am going to use Juggernaut to prevent the next, for the bottom, prevent the next 4 attacks. Then, that being the case, I'm not going to worry about the Living Corpse. I'm going to attack and stun the guy down here so that he doesn't hit me for 2 small attacks using up the Juggernaut. I'll gain 2 XP, and we'll go ahead and do a 4 attack against the Living Bones, for 5 against 1 shield, so 4 damage. Next up is the Tinker, who's in a bit of trouble against this very troublesome Living Bones, which I kind of wish I had focused on taking out. But then would I have been able to take out the boss this round? Who knows? But he's going to have to go ahead and just do a move 4. 1, 2, 3. I'll move down here, still adjacent to an obstacle. Don't want to get any farther, otherwise the Mindthief will become the target. Now they're both equidistant. Then I'll go ahead and heal myself for 4, so the Tinker is back up to 9. Now the Living Corpses will go, and you can see it is going to be a 6 attack with push 1. Going in numeric order, we'll start with the guy up here, who is going to attack the Mindthief. Again, 6 attack. Ooh, +1, so 7 damage. I am going to have to lose a card. Tough call, but I think at this point it is going to have to be Scurry. Next up, the other one will attack the Bruiser, and that will be a 0, so a 6 damage, but that'll be stopped by Juggernaut. So that's it for those. This guy, these two just hanging out. And so now the Living Bones, of course, this one is stunned, so he's not doing anything. And then the other one will just move into position. Actually, first this guy will move down, and he will do 3 attacks at 3 each against the Tinkerer. So let's see how it goes. That's 4 damage. That would be 6. I will be losing a card to prevent that, and just to finish it off. Okay, so a miss. So I take 4 damage, and then I have to lose a card. At this point, things are looking very dicey. I don't think it can afford to be any of my attacks. I need to be able to deal damage, so I'm going to have to lose Reinvigorating Elixir, and I'm going to need better positioning to get myself out of this huge mess. And finally, from this guy over here, 2 attacks against the Bruiser. That'll be absorbed by Juggernaut, and there's another curse. So just 1 more use there, and an XP up to 9. That's going to do it for this round, and see if we can start doling out some damage. This one's going to be tough. Bruiser does need to take a short rest. I would have lost Skewer. That was the card I randomly drew. I cannot afford to lose what at this point is my best damage dealing card. So, luck of the draw, not so lucky, lost this one instead. Round 10, not a lot of options with what everybody's cards got, but my goal here, just keep things moving, try and go as quick as I can, try and maximize my damage, but I also at this point really need to limit the amount of damage I'm taking. I cannot afford to lose any more cards. So let's check out the enemies. And we have nothing special from the Living Bones, which is still not great, and a hasty assault from the Living Corpse. All right, let's see how to deal with all that. So the enemies have a lot of movement this round. I think my best bet is just to stay away from them for now, take as few attacks as possible, draw them to me. So what I'm going to do with the Mindthief, I'll start off with just a basic 2 attack from the left card against one of the Living Corpses next to me. And I'll actually target the one directly to my right, and that is going to be ×2, so 4 damage. Also, I just remembered that last turn when the 2 Living Corpses attacked these guys, they both would have taken a damage, so I went ahead and did that. Now I'm going to go ahead and wound the other one, and then move 4 to get away from them. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up into the corner, and that's going to do it for the Mindthief. For the Tinkerer now, rather than do a poison attack and against a shielded enemy. Yeah, the poison would be good, but not going to do much damage. I want to maximize damage at this point, so I'm just going to do a move to. I'm going to go up here, and then I will drop a trap down here. Finally, for my guys, the Bruiser is going to go ahead and use his skewer. No wind available, so just a 3, but he will get to target the 2 living corpses and hopefully take out at least one of them. First attack, base 3, will be -1, so just 2 damage, but this is the wounded one. And hopefully we can manage to not miss the other one. A 3 times 2. Really wish that had been the other way around. They both would be dead now. Alas. Then with 4 movement, I just want to make sure I get out of way of these 2 guys. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 up here. And that's it. Time for the enemies. Living Bones are up first. This guy will go to his closest target, and he will attack for 4, -1, and that will be absorbed by Juggernaut. And I've still got 1 more of those left. As for the other guys, just a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's all they got. All right, interesting situation as we get to the living corpses. First of all, this guy is going to take 1 from his wound. The Elite's going to go first, and he sees a nice spot right here where he can go. So that's going to be his movement. He'll go 1, 2, 3, head there. Now we'll move on to the next one. Next up for the non-elites, they each have a movement of 2. This guy, equidistant path, so going top, bottom, left, right, he'd go that way first. This guy is next. I think the spot, he's looking to get to that spot too. So he'll head over that way. And then this guy is 1, 2, 3, 4 away from that spot. 1, 2, 3, 4 away either way. So again, because of the Mindthief's ability to be considered last in the order, he's actually going to head this way. So even though they're all jockeying for the same spot, that is the way they're going to move. That's going to do it for all of the enemies and the round. And of course, I forgot to short rest for the Tinkerer. I could have used a stamina potion during his turn, but I still want the Bruiser to be able to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and take a short rest, and this is the card I lost. Round 11, we've got the Mindthief long resting, the Tinkerer being able to kick things off, hopefully before the Living Bones, and be able to yank them into that trap, and at least soften them up, so hopefully the Bruiser can finish them off. We shall see. Enemies are going. Nothing special for the Living Bones, and oh good. Living Corpse not doing much at all, just a calculated strike, so they'll continue to bunch up for me, which will be good, and not going to have to worry about taking any damage from them. So we'll start with the Tinkerer, who's just going to move back 1. Going to heal the Mindthief back up to 8, not that it really matters, because the Mindthief is long resting. But then we will go ahead and do the hook gun attack, which is going to be a 2 attack against the Elite. And that attack is going to be a 2 + 1 is 3. So 2 damage, which brings it down to 5. Then I can pull it into the trap, which will bring it down to 1 and muddle it. And then the question is, do I want to pull it that 1 extra space? I think so. So, because then I can move the Bruiser up there. So I will pull him up there, which is a little risky at this point, but I got to take some risks. So hopefully the Bruiser doesn't draw into a curse or a miss. So I have 2 ways I can do this. I can use the top card of Hook and Chain to do a range 3 attack, and then I just need to not miss, and I'll take it out, and then I'll be able to move up, park myself next to the Tinker, which is good because I want to be able to use his potion, not this turn, but next turn. The other alternative is I can move 1 in a straight line and attack it for 1, and then I would be able to use the other card to do another 1 attack, and I would just need one of those to be a +1, but I think I'm going to go... I don't like the positioning of that as much. Then I'm getting attacked by both skeletons. This way, again, taking a bit of a risk, but I'm going to go ahead and go for the hook chain attack. base attack is 3. -1 is 2. Against 1 shield is just enough. So the risk paid off. A drop of loot, and then didn't quite actually work out as well as I thought, because I realize now I only did 1 damage. So I can actually only move... Oh no, I can use it for a basic. Whew. Okay, so I can move 2. I'll just move up here. I'll go ahead and loot it. Now the living bones are up. They're moving 3 and attacking for 2. So this guy will go first. Moving up, it's a 2 attack against the Bruiser, which will be 2 damage, which will be negated. That is the final prevention from Juggernaut, and good for 1 more XP, bringing him up to 10. Then the other one is just going to maneuver into position, and that's going to do it for them. As for the big guys, only this guy's going to move. The other ones have a movement of 0. So that is it for all of them. We just have to do the long rest for Dot. And for Dot's long rest, she'll get back the Tremor Blade and the Poison Dagger, and I'll have her lose Submissive Affliction. It's the least valuable of my cards, I think, right now. Do need to lose a card for the Bruiser. Initially, it was once again Skewer, which I don't want to lose. Took a damage down to 6, and Balanced Measure goes instead. And then one other thing, although the living corpses weren't moving, this wounded one did take a damage. He's down to 2. Things are definitely getting dicey as we're getting low on cards, but we're going to keep at it. At least we've got a nice defensive fortification up here. So did find a way to minimize the amount of damage coming in. I'm going to have everybody go slow. I've got a couple setup options here. Right now, what I want to do with the Bruiser is to be able to potentially hook gun somebody in to probably the elite, so I can set up a nice grouping there, which the Tinker could then do an AoE attack. But we'll have to see. And then the Mindthief, hoping to get somebody to attack somebody else. Ideally, if this guy moves up, since he's got poison, he could attack one of the living bones. But as always, a lot's going to depend on what the enemies are doing. Not to mention the fact that some of them are going to take the long route around, so they may not stay bunched up for me. But I'm going to go late so I can see how things develop. And here we go. All right, it is a hasty assault for the living bones. Oh, this should be interesting. And a reckless charge for the living corpse. So fortunately, not doing any damage, and they're all going to take damage from moving. That's very helpful. So we'll start with the living bones. Obviously, the one right next to the Bruiser doesn't need to move. He'll attack. It's just going to be an attack 1. And that's a miss. So nothing doing there. And then the other one is going to go the long way around and go 1, 2, 3, 4 to try and get to the Mindthief. That's going to do it for them. Now, there will definitely not be any ranged group attacks here because they've spread out a bit. That's fine. I can flip things around the way I'm going to do it. But we will now go ahead and work through my characters. Yakko the Bruiser will be up, looking to maximize the amount of damage he can do. He's going to go ahead and do the hook chain versus the elite down here. And this will be a base 3 attack. It's bound to come sooner or later. So there's one of the curses. I do still get to pull him towards me, so I will definitely do that. Then he's got 7 movement and nowhere to go, so that's going to do it for him. So this is definitely a pretty wonky situation. I'm in a situation here where we could have multiple monsters not moving because they cannot find a focus, right? If there were, let's say this skeleton were up here, at this point, none of these guys would move because they can't get to anybody. So just something, and the numbering matters here too, because this guy's lower than these two, so he's going to move first. So just all things I need to keep in mind. as I decide what to do with the Mindthief. But before I get to that, the Mindthief is going to go ahead. This is kind of what I was hoping for. If not the monsters moving, then at least being able to hook chain them. She is just within range here to make this guy attack the skeleton. It'll be a 3 attack, and it will poison him. And that attack will be a 4. So against the shields, 3 damage. Finishing up Dot's turn, a lot to think about in terms of where she moves. So that I can get the enemies to move the way they want. More likely, I think I'm probably going to have the Tinkerer kind of draw enemies to him. So what I'll do is I just want to be able to attack this Living Bones next turn. So Tinkerer's just going to go right there. And that's going to do it for her turn. Or sorry, the Mindthief's going to go right there. That's going to do it for her turn. Now the Tinkerer's up. So I'm going to go ahead and have Wakko bless the Bruiser Yakko so that Yakko can once again get a card back from his discard pile. And then I'll just need to do it again next turn. So I'm also going to use my Stamina Potion to get that card back so that I can just keep feeding him cards, kind of prolong my game. It's my best damage card, being able to attack 2 enemies for 3 each, or 4 if I get some wind going. So I think that's my best play at this point. For movement, I'm going to use my boots to get jump, and I'm actually going to move down over here. That should let me move, have the enemies maneuver exactly where I want them. So, speaking of which, let's have the enemies go. We'll start with the Elite, who doesn't have to move, and there's nothing to burn, so he's where he wants to be. Next up will be this guy, who will just move 2 spaces up next to Dot. Because he moved, he will take a damage. Then will be this guy, who will take 1 damage from his wound, then he will move next to the Tinkerer, and then he will die. And that's where that coin came from. And last but not least, 1, 2, 3, this guy moves in. Got them all nice in a line. Also, Tinker has a nice escape route to get out of there. But that's going to do it for round 11. I just think we may be able to pull this off. Okay, here we go. Going as fast as I can for everybody. Will it be fast enough? I don't know. We'll find out. But hopefully Mindthief can clear a path to get out of that. Hopefully the Bruiser, who is strengthened, can do a bunch of damage. We shall see. Okay, the enemies are going. Rotting Embrace. All right, so no attacks coming from the living corpses. And a Power Slash by the Living Bones. Only, okay, so not a problem. Should be able to avoid all these attacks this round, hopefully, as long as I can take out some enemies. Let's find out. The Mindthief will kick things off with a Frigid Apparition. 3 attack. It'll be against the Living Bones, and I am going to go ahead and use my Scouting Lens to ignore the shields. And the result of the attack is 3 damage, exactly enough. So that worked out well with a combination of gear and attacks. That will generate Frost for next round, so I'll move that up. And then I can go ahead and wound the big guy and move forward. I do not want to get affected by his negative effects, so I will use all that movement. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, and get some loot out of it as well. Next up, Wakko the Tinkerer. I will use the bottom of Net Shooter to lock the non-elite into place, so I don't have to worry about him chasing after me. And then I'll move 1, 2, 3, and then I will go ahead and fire a poison bolt at the big guy. By the big guy, I mean the Elite. This will be a 2 attack, plus 2, 4 damage, knocking him down to 11. Every point counts at this stage. He will also be poisoned, and I will generate Earth, which Dot will be able to use next round, hopefully. Actually, one slight adjustment. I did realize that if I want, the living corpses actually get to go before the Bruiser, so if I want to be able to do that double attack, I am going to have to lock in place the big guy, which means the non-elite is going to be able to come after me. C'est la vie. Now it is time for them to go. You can see they're going to do the Rotting Embrace. The Elite would move, but he can't, so he stays exactly where I want him. The non-elite, of course, will be able to move and muddle and lock down the Tinkerer. And the guy up here will 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 either way. So I guess we'll go this way first. We'll move 2 and take a damage from the wound. And now I believe the Bruiser can go ahead. So for the Bruiser, it will be a 3 attack. Not able to get the +1, no wind, but attacks will be advantage, and both enemies are poisoned. So first on the Living Bones, there's the other curse, and a 0, which is going to be 3 + 1 is 4 damage, -1 shield. So close. But unfortunately, not enough, as he is still alive. 1 health left. Now the attack on the other guy. Also advantage, either a +1 or a +1. So we'll go with +1. That'll be 5 damage, bring him down to 6. So this was the this was the most dangerous guy I was facing. Being able to get him poisoned, get some extra damage in. We're on our way. That's going to do it for that. I did not kill the Living Bones, so it will get to go. That said, I do have 4 movement, and the Living Bones can't move this turn, so no reason to stick around for this attack. I will get out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and get some loot in the process. So, Bruiser is going to need to take a short rest. Mindthief is going to need to take a short rest. Tinkerer is going to need to take a short rest. So, we'll do all those things, and then get ready for the next round. Here are the cards everyone lost from the short rest. Nobody had to take any damage. These were the ones I drew. So now I can plan my next round. This will be the last hurrah for the Bruiser. I had actually hoped that maybe he could use that 7 movement to go get the chest, but he's going to fall just 1 short, even with his loot ability. So he'll go out with a bang. Should be able to get a couple attacks in against the elite. The Tinker is not going anywhere, so he's going to heal himself, and Dot is going to be unloading quite a bit of damage this turn, as long as she hits. I guess there's always the possibility of a miss. I hope I didn't jinx myself. That was my order. I will everyone go fast so that the Tinker can get that heal up. And all right. Eternal Life from the Living Bones, shielding the healing. I wasn't going to attack him anyway. That's fine. So they'll get rid of the poison. They'll still be at 1. As for the big guys, nothing special. All right, time for Dot's hero movement, if she didn't already have enough this game with multiple cranium explosions. Now she is going to rush in with 2 movement right up here, so she's in melee range. It's so unusual having to be next to an enemy to do melee. I'm not used to that. But she will go ahead now and do the Fearsome Blade, base 2 attack. I will consume the earth with the Tremor Blade to make it a 4. I will consume the Frost. And I give myself an XP up to 9, so I just need 2 more, which means I just need to burn one of my cards, which I think I can do. To get me to that magic number I was looking for. So Dot up to 9 XP, and this will be a 6 attack with push 2. So I actually am going to be able to protect the Tinkerer and a curse on top of all that. For good measure, I'll also use my Poison Dagger. So this is going to be a 6 attack that will apply poison after. A 6 plus 0 is 6. So this guy is going to go from 10 down to 4. I will push him 2 away that way and shuffle a curse into the enemy deck. On their turn, the Living Bones will use Eternal Life to shield up. 2 more shields for shield 3. Not that anyone's attacking them this turn. And healing, which will just heal the poison. Now, for the Tinkerer, Tinker's feeling pretty good with Dot coming in to protect and wants to get in on the action. So instead of healing, I'm going to go ahead and have him do a Poison Bolt. This will be a disadvantage because of the muddle, but we'll go ahead and target the non-elite, who's down to 4 health. A 0 and a ×2 sadness. It'll be the 0. 2 base damage, +1 from the poison is 3, so that is going to knock him down to 1. He is still poisoned, even though I have dropped that. and can't move. He'll Dot, who's already at full, but will happily appreciate the gesture. And of course, that will also generate Earth again. Not sure that's going to matter. Next up is the Bruiser, who definitely wants to get in on this bruising of enemies. So he's got to move 4. He can move in a straight line. It's only 2, but good enough. He will now be able to do a 2 attack versus the elite living corpse. And because of the poison, it will be a 3. So base 3 attack. Plus 1 is 4, which is going to reduce him down to 2. And then we've got another attack. Actually, wow, I didn't even think about this, but when Dot pushed them in, he's now got 2 targets. So he'll go ahead and do a 3 attack. Each one will get plus 1 because of the poison, as we go for another nice skewer. First one against the elite is going to kill it. The second one is a rolling modifier, so it's a -2, but it's a 3 attack plus 1 for the poison is 4. That's 2. That's still enough. They're both dead. And I get to keep that retaliate out, which is actually, yeah, that could actually come in handy. So he will be alive for 1 more turn. He doesn't have any more cards, but he can take a long rest, which means he'll be around to take some hits. So we're not quite done with the Bruiser yet, though. Last but not least, he'll use his patch armor, which will allow him to go ahead and get that loot, and nothing under there. So just that. I'll also have him use his amulet to go up to 7 health, because why not? Last up is the living corpse, who first will bleed from his wound, and then he would go after Dot, but man, her perk is coming in handy. Instead, it is going to go after the Bruiser. Although I almost would have preferred the skeleton kill itself, but good enough. It will go ahead and attack. And that is going to be a 4 attack. Plus 2 is 6, so I'm glad I threw in that extra heal. I'll use the armor once, so it's only 5 damage. I was at 7, so now I'm down to 2. But he does retaliate for 2, because that card I just drew. So now this guy is down to 3. And that is the end of round 14. And we're really just on mop-up duty, which I think Dot can take care of. And maybe the Tinkerer will go off and get the chest. And I'm just going to jump right into round 15. The Mindthief is going to be going on 10, the Tinkerer on 19, the Bruiser in what will truly be his last hurrah, and he actually did manage to achieve his battle goal. We'll be taking a long rest. As for the enemies, it's Drain Life for the Living Bones, Reckless Charge for the Living Corpse. Ooh, there actually is Earth out there. Oops. So for Dot, knowing that the living corpse is going to bleed out, that'll allow me some time to go around and collect loot. So what she is going to do is she'll use the move 4, attack 2, stun, all the good stuff. That'll get her up to the magic 11 XP we were hoping for to ensure that she'll level up after this, assuming we win the scenario. But I feel pretty good about that now. So she'll just run up here and go ahead now and do an attack. And that is going to be plus 1 is 3, which is good enough to take him out. So just 1 enemy left on the board. That'll generate Frost. Can't really make an enemy attack an enemy because there's only 1 enemy left on the board. Next up, the Tinkerer will head for the chest. I could throw an attack at the living corpse, but like I said, I don't want to kill it this time. There's still loot on the board. Might as well grab it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is it for the Tinkerer. I will use the Tinkerer's stamina potion to get back Noxious Mist, so she can heal, or he can heal up. More importantly, just so he has 2 cards and doesn't have to rest. The living corpse now, with its reckless charge, doesn't need to move, so it'll just bleed down to 2, and then it will consume the earth to go ahead and do an attack that may well take out the Bruiser, but who's down to 2 health. Yeah, it's a 0. Even with the armor, that is going to exhaust him. So, wow, I think that's the first time that's happened in one of these games. It's only a matter of time. But we are not done yet. We have loot to collect, so let's get to stepping. Okay, round 16. Releasing gas is the living corpse. For the Mindthief, sadly she doesn't have her loot card. She will be able to grab some loot though. Just one. Now I could go an extra round, could potentially have the Tinkerer go back out, pick up one more coin, but there's also an opportunity for some XP. And I know I said loot is more important than XP, but it's been a long game. I'm ready to have it over with. We can end it this round. Dot's going to go ahead and do a range 4 attack and try and take this big guy out. And that will be... Okay. Message received. You want me to get loot? I'll get loot. Good news is that guy is disarmed, so he's not going to be able to attack. Dot will just go up and collect her last loot. Unfortunately, she's going to have to... Actually, she can't even long rest now because she burned a card. So she's going to exhaust at the end of this round. As for the Tinkerer, it's late. I've been doing this a long time. I'm tired. There's certainly no reason why I couldn't have just gone here instead to keep the Wallflower going, because I do have the move to loot to. So I'm just going to use my movement to go here. I will loot the chest. I will gain 4 health. Not that it really matters. Going up to 9. And let's see what we get. And inside the chest, we found the recipe for stun powder. Not the stun powder itself, but we got a random item design. Yeah, I like that card. So, might be looking to pick some of that up. Living Corpse on its turn. Can't attack, so it'll just move towards the enemy, because technically she's still out there. Take a damage down to 1, and that's going to do it for that round. And then the Tinkerer will do a short rest, and then we'll finish it off. The last hurrah. The Living Corpse, not going fast. Wow, 21 is pretty fast, but not fast enough. Of course, I really am tired. Wallflower, I should have just moved here to get within 2 of the chest. That also means that I am not going to be able to loot anything. I can't get in range, so the consolation prize is 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't even reach to attack it. So that's it. We're done. He dies on his turn. That is the end of a very challenging scenario. God, if I had let another door open, I would not have had the remotest chance. So really tough, especially playing at that elevated difficulty level. There's so much damage you have to deal. But a fun scenario, very successful. Everyone, if you'll forgive me the Wallflower, everyone did achieve their battle goals. I don't know that I mentioned it on the video, but that turn Dot did her first huge explosion when they first came in the main chamber. She killed off an enemy that had already been damaged that round. Never did summon the rats. Okay, that is going to do it for the scenario, but I would definitely like to see what the rewards are. This crypt seems so peaceful. And the Tinker has got some alone time while his companions are completely exhausted. As for our reward, we went back. Jexera thanked us, paid us well. All the characters got 15 gold each as a reward, as well as 2 reputation with the merchant, so they're up to 4 now, and unlock 2 new scenarios. Although, next scenario, I think we will be heading out doing number 28 so that the Tinkerer can work towards his retirement. That will be the 5th region that he needs to operate in. And taking a look at where everyone stands now, you can see the Bruiser picked up 20 XP and 15 gold this game on top of the other 15. So he's now at 159 XP and 58 gold. He did achieve another set of check marks, so he'll be getting 2 perks, one from the level up, one from the check marks, and of course a new card for reaching level 4. It's a light game for the Tinkerer, only 20 XP. He's up to 170. He picked up 12 gold plus the other 15 for a total of 72 gold now. So he's definitely in position to pick up an enhancement. Should be fun. And finally, for Dot, she came away with 25 XP, bringing her up to 154 total, and 4 coins, 12 gold, up to 63. She's still another check mark away, but she'll get 1 perk for level up, and we will do all of that in the next session. That is going to do it for episode 7, the Barrow Lair. That was a tight one, I have to say. I was already starting to think about how I might have to approach it doing it the second time through, but did manage to pull it out. Hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, please give me a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my website, dranthar.com, for some of the other stuff I'm doing. And as always, until next time, and thanks for watching.